Hi, Cameron. So this is your first ever YouTube lesson. We've had lots of lessons in person, and we've had one online lesson live over Skype or FaceTime. And so now you get to experience what you think about YouTube lessons. There's some nice things about it, and there are some not as nice things about it, just like in anything else. One of the advantages to having the YouTube lesson is that you can always stop it, start it, go back and rewind, right? Another advantage is that instead of just seeing me talking to you or having me reach over and play to demonstrate, that I also have another camera angle so you can see me play this way. Usually, as you know, I don't have my hands marked, and this isn't for your benefit today. The student, a couple students before you, my first student of the day is having a hard time remembering right and left. And so we labeled each other's hands to help him out. It seemed like it helped, but it's permanent, so it'll be there for a little while for the rest of my afternoon, but maybe it will help you also be able to follow what I'm doing with my hands. So, one thing about YouTube lessons, they're not quite as long as in-person lessons because you can stop it, rewind it, go back, and do it several times over the course of the week. So I don't have to go over it as many times as we do in a lesson. And unfortunately, you can't ask questions in a YouTube lesson, which makes it shorter also, okay? So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to sit and listen to her talk all by myself with the piano for 30 minutes. I don't want to. Don't worry about it. It won't be 30 minutes. But you can tell that I do record your lesson during your lesson time because you can see the clock wherever it is. Right. I got it. It's over there on the wall. You can see it next to the pole. It is your lesson time. So here we go. All right. We've been working on the jig. It's still in Piano Maestro. It doesn't have 3 stars on it in Piano Maestro. And I don't think that it's probably finished yet because we did so much work on the Uptown Funk and your piece for Clavinova Festival, which sounded really good. I'm so glad that you were able to participate with us this year. I liked it. I think it was a really good year, so I hope you had a good time. But we've been working so much on that, we're going to have to get back to the jig today, all right? If you will finish the jig by your next lesson and go for the gold, I'll help you with that today. If you will do those 2 things, then in your lesson next week, you may pick a Christmas song, any Christmas song you like. Now, we won't be having a recital for you to play your Christmas songs at, but now that I have all of this cool gear and everything, what we will try to do is record your Christmas song, make a digital Christmas card with you playing, with a nice little intro and exit that you can text out to your friends and family, email, all that kind of thing, of you playing your Christmas song. So I think that that'll be nice and it won't involve any extra scheduling for your parents. Yay! No more scheduling. We'll do that during your lesson times, okay? So let's go ahead and get started on the jig. I'm going to switch to my other view. Remember, let it get caught up there for a second. Remember that you have always got that D in your left hand. Okay, try to get it to focus a little bit better there. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The light in here is a little bit extra funky because we are cloudy today. Okay, always have the D in the left hand. Sometimes the G, sometimes the A also goes along with it. And I know that we've marked that the A one happens when you play C in your right hand. Those 2 places, okay? So an advantage of this lesson, whee! There we go, as it zooms back in. So you can see where the fingers go, and that can be very, very helpful for some students, all right? So hopefully it's helpful for you. This is your hand position. Remember that it's G position, which means the lowest note your thumb plays is G. The lowest note your pinky plays is G. All right? G's. Remember that my piano and your piano are probably not completely in tune with each other, so if you're playing along with me and you get a little of that kind of thing, I don't think it's that far off from when we did your live lesson at your house. But it's going to be a little bit off because the weather keeps changing, and so the instruments are never going to be perfectly in sync unless they're digital, unless they plug into the wall. Okay? So, if you're playing along and it sounds a little bit funky, hang in there. What I'm going to do is play both hands together, since we've talked about this song the last couple of weeks, so that you can have it for a double check. All of it is in Piano Maestro also, so if you're still having a problem and you're not sure about a single note, and watching this video doesn't quite work it out, go into Piano Maestro, okay? Let's start at the beginning. I'm going to go slowly. 1, 2, 3, 1. And remember, we decided that you didn't have to do the first ending and take the repeat. You can just play all the way through for this one. So, if you can play along at that speed, you're doing great. If you can play along at that speed by Friday or Saturday of this week, even better, because then by the time that Monday rolls around, you'll be able to play it more quickly. Like the finish tempo should be somewhere in this neighborhood. 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, and that's all that I'll play of it for now, all right? Somewhere about that tempo when it's all finished. If you can do that, then it'll just be great by the time that Wednesday rolls around for your next lesson. But it does need to be fairly consistent. Remember, we don't want to have pauses. You want to be able to go from the measure to the next measure to the next measure, right? So that way it sounds really nice. So pauses, no. You want to be able to keep going. All right? Hopefully that answers any questions you would have about that, because we have worked on it a few weeks before now, and I know that your music is pretty well marked up, okay? Use Piano Maestro also. So let's go ahead and start talking about Go for the Gold. When you turn your page, you get to Go for the Gold. It is the last song in the book. Congratulations. I'm going to tell you about the first page only this week. Teach you how to do that, because the jig should take a little bit of work still to finish up. I don't want you to be too overloaded, but I do want you to go ahead and start this one. Don't just work on the one piece, work on both of them this week. So let's go through Go for the Gold. Okay, I'm going to flip back over here and see if it'll zoom in pretty good for me. It's doing okay. All right, so our first note here, get out your pencil. This is the point that if you don't have a pencil, you can hit pause and you can go find a pencil, which is always nice. Okay, so I assume you just found your pencil. Thank you. This note, we're going to talk about it because I know note naming isn't your easiest thing. The bottom line of treble clef is E, so the space would be F, and this line would be a G, and your first finger on your right hand, handy little R, plays this note. So this note will be played like this. Okay, that's your hand position for your right hand. There's middle C, and there's the first note of this song. Your left hand, there it is, will play this note. I'm going to go in. The line is under this note, not running through it, but the note looks like it's sitting on top of this line, just above the line. So on the line, with the line running through it, would be middle C. This one is above it, so it would be D. D above middle C with your first finger. So your left hand will play that note. There's middle C. Okay? So there are your hand positions. Now looking at the music itself, you're going to have G. I think that's G. Pretty close. G. And then it skips up. Think about what that might be. Skips up to B. I hope you said. Then it steps down, because that one's on the line, this one's in the space, so it steps down to A, and then it starts getting really high for me, so I'm not going to sing it. Skips from A to C, hopefully you said. Steps down, okay, so we have skip up, step down, skip up, step down, skip up, see a pattern? Steps down, steps down, steps down. So then the pattern changes a little bit. Skips up and then steps back down to A. This is what your right hand will sound like. All right? Then you'll notice that in line 2, you have the same thing. You have G, skip up to B, A, skip up to C, step down, skip up. Then you have something a little bit different here. You have this one, which is in the second space. So if the first space is F, the line is G, this note is, hopefully you're shouting A, because that would be correct. A, and then steps down to G. Okay? So your right hand, get this out of the way so it stops zooming in and out. Your right hand first page will go all right. So now let's look at your left hand. Remember, you can pause, go back, watch it while you practice every day. That's fine. Your left hand, is going to play that D, D. What note is that? Look in your music. Look in your music. Hopefully you're thinking, well, the line underneath it is F, because this is the F clef, and the F runs between the two dots, which is the second line from the top. So if that's F, then this is G. Then it skips up, so this must be a B. Steps down, so you end up back to G. G, B, A, G, right? There's our old pal middle C, and it's got a 2 under it, so we know that we're still in the same position. We're good. Steps up D, 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 okay? D, 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 C, B. So This part is the trickiest part of your left hand and the trickiest to put together. Let's see what your left hand sounds like. All right, so those are the two parts separately. I'm about to go ahead and slowly put them together. Remember, I'm going to also assign them in Piano Maestro for you. That way, if you're not sure about some of the notes, you can always go in and do it. But, I have jacks up. But, I'm only assigning you the first part, right? So you could always hit pause after you get the part that we just talked about, or you could just keep going, all right? So I'm assigning that. Okay, so now it's in there, okay? And I'll reassign the jig from last week. And you're all good to go there, all right? All right, this is what the two parts sound like together, and then we'll be done. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. There you have it. Now, I will say that at measure 3, you have that. Notice that it's like playing the same distance apart. When they both skip up, they stay the same distance apart. If I were to switch to this, you would see they go up and down the same amount, okay? So be aware of that. Play it slowly and you shouldn't have any trouble. So, there you have it. The first page of Go for the Gold, finishing up the jig. You need a secret password. What shall the secret password be this week so that I know you watched all the way to the end? I'm going to pick Vienna Boys Choir because they are having their concert this Saturday. They're in the country from Austria. They're going to be singing with the Amarillo Boys Choir. Maybe you'll go to it. Maybe you already have your tickets. It should be really awesome. That is going to be my key word this week, Vienna Boys Choir. Several words, all right? So make sure that you're practicing. Practice every day. Use the video the best way that you can, and I'll see you in person next week. Don't eat too much candy. Bye.